the good coaches, they learn as you go, and they eventually give everybody a chance.
Yeah.
The year at Duke that we won the ACC championship, we did not know this running back, Randy Cuthbert, was that good. He was a redshirt freshman, and the starting little tailback got the wind knocked out of him, and we put him in the game against Clemson, and he ran over, through him, gained about 75 yards in the second half alone, and he became the starter, obviously, gained over 1,000 yards, only had 6 starts.
Yeah.
Now, people say, man, y'all must have thrown it all over the place. No. We ran the ball. We threw it to Clarkson Hines for a bunch of touchdowns, but we were able to stay on the field, and our defense just give us 4 or 5 stops. That's all.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, it is time for another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Zach is our producer today and was just here having dinner yesterday, and it was really good for Mother's Day. Very happy to have taken I got my wife the greatest Mother's Day present, and it was this. She loves sea turtles, right? And it was a sea turtle necklace with a turtle and a baby turtle. It was really nice. I was proud of myself. All right, we got a good show for you today. Coach Spurrier is back today, so we'll talk to him. We'll have Robbie Andrew on again today. Hasn't been on in a couple weeks. On Thursday, Urban Meyer is going to join us. On Monday, we're got to find a guest. Coach Spurrier let me know he's got a golf tournament on Monday, so we're got to find a guest. I'll work on that. We may just go with a full Robbie, and then I think on the following Thursday, Phil Troutwine is going to join us. Now, Phil is, of course, 2-time national champ, has 2 tattoos to prove it. Great guy, love him very much. We've talked a lot during the years, and is now the offensive line coach at Penn State. So. The way it took me a long time to get him to be able to come on because, they had to clear it to the coach, and everybody's kind of in different worlds right now. Some people are taking vacations and everything. So I had to clear it with Coach Franklin, but we're going to talk mostly about his career here at Florida. All right, so on Saturday, originally, was supposed to be our golf tournament, right? And we postponed it a long time ago. Most of you know that. We aren't sure when we're going to have it, but we're going to try to get it. There's a multiple reasons. You don't need to know all of them, okay? So it's going to rain, though, on Saturday, right? And my brother and I are talking about it on the phone, and we're like, man, we dodged a major bullet. But we forgot to send a memo to heaven because my mom and dad, I guarantee you, made the clouds all part, and we could have had the tournament. Now, we've gotten rain the last 2 days, but that's not the point. It was funny to think about that because I have no doubt one year my mom parted the clouds because it was going to be the worst storm in the history of Gainesville, and all of a sudden we got no rain and got to play. Anyway, I believe that. All right, let us get to sports. How about that? So we'll start with our Royal Blue starting 5. As we always do, we love Royal Blues, and we appreciate Randy Rule and all that he's been. Randy Royal or Randy Rule, you could call him that too, and all he does for us. Royal Blue is gets it done over there. Let's go to our starting 5. Number 1. Okay, I could lead with a lot of things today, but I'm going to lead with baseball because baseball's the one that I don't know. You could question that whether it needed it the most, but anyway. The bottom line is Florida went in to play the number 1 team in the country and beat them 2 out of 3. Beat them with a 6-run first in the first game, lost the second game, had a chance in that game certainly, and then won the third game, and won the third game 4-1. Big win for Florida. They jumped all the way up to 14 in RPI, 5th in strength of schedule. So I'm going to say this out loud, and it's probably going to come back to haunt me, but they're in. I think they're in the tournament. Now the question is, can they host? Because they now have wins over Arkansas and Texas, which most people will tell you are the two best teams in the SEC, they have series wins over them. They have 5 straight series wins. They have figured things out. They're not good enough to sweep very many teams, but they're good enough to battle and get a series win. They might be really dangerous in the postseason, especially when you consider how good Liam Peterson's pitching, how good Aiden King's pitching, how good, now that you're getting Coppola back, you found your closer in Clement. It's exciting. Maybe you get Shelton back. I don't know when in postseason that would be. It might be deep into postseason before you get him back. But they've been able to step up. Guys have been able to step up. I give them so much credit for being able to get this done when everybody was ready to give up on them. 5 straight series, now 13-14 in the SEC, which Jeff studies this like I do, but he is really in touch with his feelings on Gator baseball. Or maybe not in touch with his feelings. But anyway, he knows what's going on. And his thing was 12 wins is what you need in the SEC to get into the tournament. They've got 13 now. And now you've got one more series to go against Alabama. That's a big series, but especially if you want to host. If you can get 2 out of 3 and win another series, this one's at home. Again, Alabama just won a series against, golly, I'm blanking on who it was against. There was a lot of baseball this weekend. Anyway, they won their series this weekend. It's Kentucky, maybe? Anyway, they won their series this weekend. So they're coming into here probably feeling pretty good, and they're ranked, another ranked team. So you win that series, you can host. I think Florida would host. I don't see how they can not let Florida host if they're like 13 or 12 in RPI. We'll see how that works out. I'm just proud of the way they've been able to get it done in baseball here down the stretch. 5 straight series wins. 13-14 now is their record. Did I ever think we'd be thrilled about that? Well, it was last year when they got them in, and then they went on to have a deep run in Omaha. This is a different team. There's no Cags. He's busy lighting up parks in the minor leagues. But anyway, so let's see how it goes with baseball. Big weekend this weekend. It's going to be crazy over there, by the way. And we'll get to all these other things. But between baseball and softball and lacrosse, all going on basically at the same time. Well, not always at the same time, but kind of at the same time. It's going to be wild around that little center of the universe, which it will be. All right, let's get to number 2, which is softball. And, of course, the Circle is presented to you by Steve and Christine Wendig. We appreciate Steve and Christine, your Boss Heart realtors, who will get it done for you in finding a house. And we appreciate them. They present the Circle every Monday. Today, they've got something special to report about, which is Florida gets the number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. So very high seed. So Florida actually has a higher, I just thought about this in my head, which is a very complicated place to be. Florida has a higher softball seed than they did a basketball seed. Because they're the 3rd national seed. They were the 4th national seed in basketball. Anyway, that's the way it is. I'm just saying. Anyway, not a big surprise. Florida's RPI is so good. They were the top strength of schedule. RPI was number 2. I think some people thought they might get the 2. So I think that there was some concern before that Oklahoma series. That Oklahoma series, don't forget, they won this series against the 2 teams that would have played for the SEC championship on, was that Sunday or Saturday? Saturday. I get the dates mixed up. But that game got rained out, and they didn't want – so it would have been Saturday, and they didn't want to come back and play a Sunday. They won both series against us, so that's a big reason why they got a seed so high. And, of course, they play Mercer on Friday, 4:30 game, which means Jeff and Pat will not be on radio for Friday. But I think we're on all the other 4 days. Now, if Florida does win this series, regional. I'm not getting ahead of it. They would probably play Duke. Duke's a 14. That's how they match up. And, of course, they split with Duke at home earlier this year. That one game was the game where they threw it all over the park and lost the game, but they also beat them I think they run ruled them the other game. So we'll see. I mean, look, I'm just excited that they got a really good seed that they can be home for the whole thing, and that's the best way. The best way to do it is to be at home because you have an advantage. You have crowded noise. You sleep in your own beds. We all know that. Doesn't guarantee anything. We also know that. All right, that's softball, and that is the circle brought to you by Christine and Steve Wendig. Let us move to number 3. So it was a good weekend for the Gators. Let's just put it that way. Number 3 was lacrosse, which I watched the entire lacrosse game. Yes, I did. I found it on the Plus, and I said, I'm watching this lacrosse game. There are rules I'm not going to understand. I've been to lacrosse before. I covered several games a few years back. I'm a big fan of Mandy O'Leary's, and I had to we've talked about a lot of the players, but I had to kind of watch them play to see what was going on. Of course, it was a rainy day, but they found a way to win the game. It was crazy. It was such an intense game. Florida would get out to a lead, and then Stanford would catch them. And then Florida they'd get a 2-goal advantage, and then Stanford would catch them. It is a game where possession matters, and Florida dominated the second half in face-offs, and it didn't help them. And then Stanford dominated the first half, and it didn't help them. It was just a wild game, and then it goes to overtime. And in overtime, it's a golden goal thing. Both teams got a possession, didn't score. Got to start it, have a second overtime. Florida scores on a ball, a ball that was deflected off the goaltender and barely got in. We'll show you later. A little bit later, we'll have our Mayhem Moment. That is our Mayhem Moment because it turned crazy. So congratulations, Mandy. We appreciate her. And they are going to play Duke. Okay, I don't know why Florida and Duke have to play and everything, but Florida's going to play Duke in the Elite Eight, and that will be here. So we'll let you know a little bit more. But it's going to be Thursday, I think evening on ESPNU. We'll get that information for you. I don't have it right now. I don't know that it was given, but we know it's on ESPNU. The weirdest thing about that game was there was a 20-minute delay because one of the shot clocks went down, okay? And there was, with the rain that was coming down Sunday, they lost a couple of cameras at one point. But I will say this, by the way. I'm not even sure. The guy's name who did it was Sean Salisbury, was the play-by-play guy. Now, that can't be the Sean Salisbury, right? And I'm pretty sure the guy that did the color is a guy I know from UF that I see over there all the time. They were awesome. They explained everything to me, and it was really good, and it was very intense. It was exciting. I was, getting breathless at one point, which is what you got to do. So that was lacrosse, and they got it done, and we will see where it goes. 16 straight wins. And again, go back to the winning breeds winning thing. All of a sudden, baseball, what they've done, softball, I know they lost the last game, but they won enough to get a 3 seed. Lacrosse keeps winning 16 in a row. I'm telling you, it is true. All right, let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue, starting 5. And that is all this talk. And again, by the time you listen to this, because some people listen to it the next day or they listen to it later today, by the time you do, there could be a resolution to what's going on here. But this story came out that because Florida's still looking for a couple players, and obviously they've got to replace Denzel, and they may get a big too, but that Boogie Fland is being recruited by Florida. Boogie Fland, of course, was a freshman at Arkansas last year, has declared for the draft, but he's keeping his eligibility. Likely will go to the portal. I don't think he's a first-round pick. Is he a good player? Yeah. He's kind of a me guy from what I saw of him last year, but I trust my coach. And if you don't trust your coach after what you went through this year, then you need to get off the bandwagon. I'm trusting him. If he's right for their culture, they'll bring him in. That said, there are reports out of Arkansas that he's being offered $5 to $6 million to come here. Now, I don't think that would be per year, and I don't think Florida's going to offer $6 million to somebody when they've got to pay a lot of other people and they need to pay them. You don't want to bring in a guy and go, he's going to be the salvation of this program. No, you just had the salvation. They didn't make $6 million. Maybe as a group they did. So don't worry about that. And again, because it was said on radio and it's on the internet now, it will become fact, which is what I've talked about before. It drives me nuts. Somebody says something, it becomes fact these days. It's not. It just means somebody said this. Somebody had information. It may be false. We'll see. A lot of times what happens is the coach of the team that doesn't want to lose them will leak that information and embellish. What? John Calipari embellished something? Oh, that never happens. All right. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on that. Waiting for that other shoe to drop. Let us get to our number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the PGA Championship is this weekend. I am so excited. I can't wait for it. Great golf course there at Quail Hollow. The Green Mile, one of the great nicknames. In fact, the Green Mile was what I was trying to come up with something that good when I was trying to come up with a nickname for the 3 finishing holes at the Players. The best I could come up with was, I think we came up with the Bermuda Triangle because they had changed to Bermuda Greens that year, and obviously it doesn't apply because they went back. Anyway, the point is it was an entire column that made no sense. But the Green Mile is a cool thing. It is a fun tournament. I can't wait for it. I love majors that give you risk reward, not even risk reward. There are birdies to be had, but there are bogeys and there are doubles, and you got to avoid the others. That's the main thing. But I'm looking forward to it. I am taking Scotty Scheffler. Look, dude shot 31 under the last time he played. I know that is, the extreme, but I think he's going to win this major, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait for it. When you think about all the guys we have that are really playing good golf right now, including Jordan Spieth, including Schauffele, including JT. Justin Thomas is playing great. Obviously, Rory just won the major. Maybe could win a Grand Slam. We'll see. So very excited about the PGA being on TV. We'll tell you a little bit later where to see it when we get to the Swamp Games of the Weekend, or Games of the Week, actually. All right. That's going to do it for our opening segment, brought to you by Royal Blue. We appreciate Royal Blue very much. Our Royal Blue starting 5. We will be back with more after we take this break. Coach Spurrier is going to join us here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. The kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit BMI TeleMed today.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Here are just a few reasons why doing business with the Royal Blue puts you at the helm of your boating lifestyle. 1, the longer we have your listing, the lower percentage commissions you will pay. 2, survey reimbursement for qualified buyers. 3, detail reimbursement for qualified sellers. 4, on-the-water delivery orientation availability. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila. Aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And, of course, Steve Spurrier is back from his golf exploits, and Meldon Law brings him to us. You played okay?
I guess it was last week.
Yeah.
Reynolds Plantation, they have a coach's event, the Peach Bowl. Gary Stoken, who runs the Peach Bowl up there in Atlanta.
I know Gary,
So
yeah.
he invites a whole bunch of coaches, and then we have a scramble the first day, play with a lot of paying customers. And then we have our own tournament. I got paired up with Hugh Freeze, and we finished third, which was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I had one bogey, two-man scramble. I only had one bogey. Urban and Norvell, FSU coach, won it.
That's not good.
Gator and Seminole winning together. That's unusual. But, yeah, he actually won it last year also. But so anyway, they only had 12 teams, but 24 coaches were there competing. And it was a fun event. And it seems like Monday's the day they have these. And this week I'm going to the College Football Hall of Fame, has a little scramble type event at Peachtree Country Club in Atlanta. So you can fly up Sunday afternoon and fly back Monday night, and you've got it all covered. So anyway, that was last weekend.
Yep. So that was good, and we obviously a lot of good things happened while you were away. It feels like, and I believe in this, and I don't know if anybody else does, that once you have somebody do, and you believe this at South Carolina, because I remember when baseball won the national championships back to back, and you said, hey, let's piggyback on that. Let's take that momentum in football and do that at South Carolina.
So I went back to back.
No, well, I mean,
just winning season.
just the success. Yeah.
Oh yeah, winning breeds more winning.
Exactly.
As Vince Lombardi said. Unfortunately, losing means more losing also.
It does.
But anyway, on a side note, Pat, I want to give credit to our University of Florida. Our academic progress report came out last week, and two sports, women's gymnastics and women's volleyball, Mary Wise and Jen Rowland, they were a perfect 1,000. Now, I think that means all their players had over a 3-point average.
Right.
I think that's what that means. I'm not exactly sure. But we led the SEC in the academic progress report, and all the other sports were above average. So we were the best at going to class. Football, basketball, hey, they went to class. A lot of people think they don't go anymore, but the report says they do go. So proud of our school, athletic director Scott Strickland, and people in charge academically of all these teams.
And Hughes does a great job over there. Yeah, no, I think it's something that a lot of people are assuming that because of this NIL and portal that these kids are just, they're just coming, they're employees and they're playing. And we know that with football, it is kind of dicey right now. But with these other sports, especially the women's sports, they're getting money. They're making money. In fact, in the case of Leanne Wong, she's a CEO of her own company. She's making money. But they're also going to class. They're getting their degree. They're going to do something. For example, Corby Otis was the scholar athlete for softball for the SEC. Scholar athlete because she's got a 4.0 and it's in pre-med. I mean, it's not like they're taking basket weaving, and I think it's really, I think what you said is great, that this is kind of what you're supposed to be as a school, right?
Yeah, one of the things I'm really most proud of our 1990s, all those teams, we were first in the SEC in graduating football players. It was 75, 80%, something like that. So proud of that. And also, Marquise Pouncey is going to be inducted to College Football Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, the University Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
University Hall of Fame, along with Phil Farr as an administrator. So good to have Pouncey in the Hall of Fame.
I talked about Phil last week. I said that that is such a cool thing because Phil. There's no bigger Gator than Phil Farr. I mean, he played here, long snapper. I got to know him when he was in school here and known him ever since. Been at UF working for Gator Boosters ever since. He's raised a lot of money for the University of Florida.
That's exactly right. Phil Farr. And still raising money and doing a super job over there in the booster office.
You know who else is going into the Hall of Fame is Lauren Hager, who is certainly in the argument for the greatest softball player to ever play here. I mean, they were comparing her to Babe Ruth at one point. But she was part of – I mean, look, she was the best player on a team that won back-to-back national championships. So she should be in right
2015 and 16,
Yep.
I think that was. I drive by the women's softball park almost every day as I come from the house into the stadium office here. So, those numbers are right on the stadium and easy to read.
Yep.
Very good.
Well, and that's the news of softball today was that they got a number 3 seed, National C, which for a team that finished 6th in the SEC is pretty good.
Gee.
But and again, this goes back to scheduling. They had the best strength of schedule of anybody. So, and they won those series from Oklahoma and Texas A&M, who ended up being the conference champions because they didn't play the championship game, so because of rain. But anyway, that it's scheduling. You got to play good teams.
That does encourage scheduling, which football are starting to do now.
Yeah.
Clemson's going to play Notre Dame.
I know.
Like 12 years in a row. So you don't have to. You can get into the playoffs because they got 12 teams now instead of 2. So back in the old days, if you had a tough opponent, it makes sense to play them early because if you lose early, the voters forget about it late.
That's right.
Seems like. But if you lose late, like we did at FSU, I think we went from like number 1 to number 6. And we lost to the number 2 team in the nation by 3 points at their place.
Yeah.
But that's still a loss. But fortunately,
with a bad field.
Yeah, fortunately, a whole bunch of other people lost ahead of us, and we were able to get the rematch and win it all. Yeah.
That is kind of crazy when you think about where we are now. With the 12 team is probably going to expand again. We all know it is, and who knows where it'll be in 10 years? It could be 24. I mean, but were you guys the whole time you were coaching at Florida? You had to be undefeated or at best 1 loss to even have a chance. And even then, sometimes it was just a vote. It wasn't even actual playing. At Florida and FSU, it worked out perfectly for you. But if Arizona State wins that game against Ohio State, your game is just for kicks and giggles.
Second place, probably.
Yeah.
Well, if FSU had won, they would have been voted over Arizona
They probably
State.
would have been, yeah.
But since everyone had a loss and we beat the number one team last game of the season, we won by a lot of votes, I think. I don't know what it was, but
No, it was
a lot of hope.
It was, and I think the way you beat them too, and 52-20. Of course, I had one of those 52-20s last night here at Spurrier's.
Is that right?
I love that. It's the only beer I drink here.
52-20.
52-20.
Yeah.
It's principle out of that. But anyway, softball we talked about 3 seed. They could end up playing your Dukies. They're matched up with them.
Yeah, I see where Duke is up there in women's softball. Yeah, Duke's athletic department has done much better.
They really
the
have.
last several years. Football, basketball, baseball, the other sports also.
Now I wonder if you're going to go out to lacrosse Thursday because it's Florida versus Duke. So
That's coming.
you
Coming
got
this
that
week.
here. Yeah, that's coming. Also, you've got baseball playing a big series against Alabama, and that was a big series for them to beat Texas 2 out of 3.
That was.
Sully, Sully's one of those guys, he's eventually going to figure it out during the season. Sometimes it takes him a little while. It's baseball, and you got to throw a bunch of guys out there and see what they do in competition before you can find out. That's the good thing about baseball is you do have that luxury, of experimenting with lineups and bringing in different pitchers, and then when it's time, you better be ready to go.
Yeah, the good coaches, they learn as you go, and they eventually give everybody a chance.
Yeah.
The year at Duke that we won the ACC championship, we did not know this running back, Randy Cuthbert, was that good. He was a redshirt freshman, and the starting little tailback got the wind knocked out of him, and we put him in the game against Clemson, and he ran over, threw him, gained about 75 yards in the second half alone.
Yeah.
And he became the starter, obviously, gained over 1,000 yards, only had 6 starts.
Yeah.
Now, people say, man, y'all must have thrown it all over the place. No. We ran the ball. We threw it to Clarkson Hines for a bunch of touchdowns, but we were able to stay on the field, and our defense just give us 4 or 5 stops. That's all we need.
Yep.
And they did that. So they did very well. Yeah.
Was Greg Boone the guy who got hurt?
Roger Boone.
Roger Boone.
Roger Boone, his older brother Greg, played with the Bandits down there. So
I remember.
He was at
okay.
Duke in the early 80s.
Well, did Cuthbert play in the USFL?
He got hurt a little bit there at Duke, and they still played him a bit, from what I understand. And he never was quite the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Those running backs, you got to stay healthy, and you can't play when you're hurt, and so. Anyway, he did not play much pro ball at all. Yeah.
I do remember him from his time at Duke, though. There's no question about that. And I did watch a little USFL this weekend. I still can't get into it yet.
UFL?
They need more SEC guys in there. The trouble is, if all the SEC guys either go pro, real pro, or they go find jobs.
Yeah, it's obviously a league to sort of a developmental for pro football for the NFL. Although I don't know how many guys get signed by the NFL. They're
Just
all
a
hoping
couple
that.
have, yeah.
Yeah, not as many as I think we would hope. But Bobby Stoops and the Renegades, where my son Scotty is,
Right.
oh, they lost a heartbreaker now.
I saw it.
Sunday afternoon. The other team, the quarterback ran with the ball and got tackled on about the 1.5 yard line, and the play started with 7 seconds. So when he went down, the clock just sort of ran out, but they said some guy did like this with 1 second left. So they came back and gave him 1 second. They ran it in the end zone, tied the game. They ran it again, and the guy dodged about 2 guys, and they got beat 25-24. So it was a heartbreaker. It really was.
That's tough.
And they needed that one to stay in the playoff hunt. They're still not mathematically out of it, but they got to win and hope they lose type of thing,
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like the old, the old college football where you got to hope for other teams to lose too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
of course, there has been a lot of things going on around here, but the thing that's coming up this week that I'm excited about is the second major of the year, and I don't know how much of the golf you watched this week, was Straka winning, former Bulldog. Don't like that. But
Georgia does have a bunch of golfers.
Man,
up there,
they're everywhere.
Lefty, Brian
Harmon, yeah.
Harmon, and
Kinzer. A lot of people that I don't even that are Georgia Bulldogs that you wouldn't even know because they don't wear it on their sleeve the way Billy Horschel wears it on his bag and everything. But but anyway, yeah. So because you won't be here next week and everything, I wanted to get your take on that and how you feel about the PGA being now versus when it used to be the last one, and it almost felt like the forgotten major. So moving it up to here does make it a lot more interesting.
Where are they being played?
They're playing at Quail Hollow in Charlotte.
Charlotte. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it'll get a lot of attention. Now and so forth. So yeah, that'd be a good one to watch.
Well, they moved that. Remember, they moved the players to this point, and then they went, "Nah, that's not working."
Yeah, keep you back into March or so.
No matter how much you try to push the players as a major, it's just not. I mean, it's a great tournament. It's probably the sixth best tournament. But you only can have 4 majors. That's the way it works. All right. Anything else for us, Coach? We want to get it all in because you're gone Monday, so wanted to make sure we had everything handled.
I think we've covered a lot of it and talked about the Hall of Fame and so forth. And I wanted to make note. There's a quarterback called Bryce Perkins, and he's playing in that UFL right now. And I think this guy, I mean, he can run, he can dodge guys, and he can throw. Just remember that name Perkins next year. If an NFL team will give him a shot, I would think somebody's got to give him a shot. I mean, these quarterbacks that can run and you can't catch them, they're tougher to defend. The guy just stands there, and this guy can go all over the place, and he's a good passer. So look for that guy. Yeah,
that's what I'm curious to see about with Lagway this year. Because he did, when he ran last year, it was pretty effective, but they don't want him to run a lot because they can only go as far as he takes them. So
that's part of his game, though. Yeah. Just like Jaden Daniels. If he wasn't running, well, he'd be half as good as he is now. But there's an art to running and getting down and not taking big hits. So that's hopefully what DJ will be able to do.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who the guy was. There was a player who went to the baseball players to learn how to slide because he didn't know how to slide. And again, I don't think I could run out there and slide right now. I haven't done it since I was a kid, but there is an art to that of knowing how to get down. Don't hurt yourself. Don't let yourself get exposed too much.
Yeah. Well, for whatever it's worth, I never taught a quarterback to slide. Because you're like this. If that guy wants to spear you, like occasionally they do, get down in there, get the ball, get all you can, and duck between the tacklers. Duck. And even if they pile on you, it doesn't hurt if you're right like that. But if you're like this and they want to take a shot, you're helpless. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, Darnell Dockett comes after you.
If you're out there running, here comes 2 big dudes, you're going to fall right in front of them, and you don't know what they're going to do. But if I can dive at their feet, they're not going to clobber me.
Well, that's the thing. If they want to clobber you, they may get kicked out of the game, but you're out of the game. You know, if they want to hit you hard enough. So
that's right.
that's of course, as you know, that was the FSU rep was how many quarterbacks they could knock out of the game.
And you lose about 2 yards.
Yeah.
You go down, ball's back here.
Oh yes, because
your feet's out
your
there.
Butt hits.
If you dive there, you make 2 more yards at least, but just diving low, get low.
It's good advice. So we'll give that to DJ Lagway. By the way, Coach is wearing his Apollo shirt today, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, that was sitting
champions.
There. And champions of the AAF. Everybody wants to know the last team I coached. It was the Orlando Apollos, and the running back is with Stoopsy's team, the Arlington team out there. So anyway, I went out for a game about 3 weeks ago. And he came up, hey, Coach, how you doing? So we're still reminiscing the championship the Apollos won in 2019.
Yeah, do you have a trophy for that? Is that in here, or is that?
I've got one at home.
Okay.
There may be one in the trophy case.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
know
an
the ring.
Apollo's helmet up here. Yeah.
Our championship ring is in the trophy case.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go. We had a great time, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Since you won't be here next week, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And we do have to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend, which occurred on Sunday. I was watching this. Brody Donay. You think it's just a routine fly ball, but he has got big man power, and that ball gets out of here.
The yard.
That was a big home run for Florida, and winning that game on Sunday to win the series. It gave Florida a 3-0 lead. Just a little more breathing room. The other runs were scored kind of manufactured runs, but that was a bomb. And Donay, tell you what, if they can get some of these guys to play at their level of the skill we know they have, and that's what they've been able to do. That's how you win 5 straight series.
Yeah.
In baseball, that's important. So that was our Campus USA play of the weekend. Thanks for reminding me of that, Zach, as he always has to every time. I don't know why I can't remember it. I guess just getting old, man.
Yeah.
Just forget things. All right. That's going to do it for Coach Spurrier's appearance. We'll be back with Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Where, Maybe, right after we take this break here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the hippie attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's great to have Robbie back, too. We had Spurrier back today, and now we get Robbie back, and we'll have him next week as well. Robbie Andrew, of course, you know him for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Robbie, how are you?
Good, Pat. How was your Mother's Day?
It was good. We actually had dinner out here, and it costs a lot, but you know.
Yeah, but as long as you took care of Karen, you're good.
Yeah, but certain people ordered steak, you know, and that was.
Yeah.
I tried to get out. I tried to get out cheap. I said, I'm just going to have a hamburger, and Karen goes, "You had a hamburger the other day. You need to get something nice." Okay, well, I'm paying for it, but. So I had to. Yeah, I will say this: I had the shrimp and grits, and they were unbelievable. They were the best you could possibly ask for.
Yeah, that's I haven't had, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, they're very good. All right, let's play a little Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Robbie Andrew. Brought to you, of course, by Big Mills Cheesesteak, as is the Zoom line. Brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. If you go in there and say you listen to another duly noted podcast with Robbie Andrew or Steve Spurrier or anybody, you get free fries with your order. All right, let's go to number 1, Robbie, on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. You'll take the SEC against the field in NCAA softball.
Yeah, Pat, I think I will, because look at all the good teams and all the high seeds in the tournament. And yeah, to me, and I looked over the bracket earlier today, and I think one of the biggest threats is going to be FSU to the SEC. I mean, they're a 5 seed, right? And they've beaten Florida this year. So Yeah. But I think, Oklahoma's won, what, 4 in a row, Pat?
Yeah, 4 in a row.
And I know this Oklahoma team is not like the previous ones that hit all those home runs, but, when the game is on the line, when the game's important, they're always there. So, and that's just one of many teams from the SEC that could win it all. And you have to put Florida in that category as well. And like I said earlier, maybe FSU is one of the biggest threats. Other than that, I don't see anybody else. I don't see anybody beating anybody but an SEC team winning the title. It's been that kind of year.
I would agree with you that FSU might be the biggest threat because I think other than them, almost everybody is from the SEC, the top 4 or 5 seeds. So, Florida, of course, being the 3. That'll be exciting to host again, and especially if the Dukies come back here for the Super Regionals. But, hey, you don't want to get ahead of yourselves, right?
No. Just get to the real regional first, take care of that, and then move on.
I'm sure that Tim Walton is thinking only about Mercer.
I know.
Which is their
I think losing in an SEC tournament going out early probably helped them a little bit because now they're rested, well rested. Everybody's ready to go, right?
Well, that's true, and not only that, it clearly didn't hurt them. When you finish 6th in the league and you go one and done in the SEC tournament, and you end up a 3 national seed. They had done it all before, like they always do, like in basketball.
Yeah, they were being judged on that winning the series against Oklahoma, I think.
Yep.
I
and the one against A&M earlier in the year.
Yeah.
All right, Robbie, that's number 1. Number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. The winner of the PGA tournament, the PGA Championship, will come from this group: Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas.
Pat, you picked maybe the 3, hottest golfers out there right now. So, I'm going to say, one of them is going to win it. And I think I would love to see Rory win it, Pat, because then there's talk about a Grand Slam in 1 year if he does that after winning the Masters. So that would really energize the tour and the golf season, make it a lot of fun. But, Scheffler, he's back now. The way he played a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, he only shot 31 under. What's 31 under? I do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was just amazing. So I think he's back, and Rory's on the top of his game right now, and Justin Thomas is really playing well.
Yeah,
one of those is going to win.
I had this PGA preview thing on one of my TVs, so I was listening to it, and on Sunday before they started playing that other tournament, and they asked everybody's prediction. I mean, they got everybody. They got all the commentators, Jim Nantz, everybody. Different golfers, celebrities, and everything. And they all picked from these 3 guys, except there was one other guy they picked. Well, 2 other guys, Schauffele and Spieth. And I keep going, Spieth?
No.
Isn't he the guy who can't make a putt when he needs to?
No. Schauffele, I see, he won last year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I'd get that, but Spieth, I don't. I mean, it's not like he's playing terrible right now, but he's not playing great either. So,
well, I think he's hitting the ball good. He just can't make putts. And there was a time in his life where I said this on a tweet, and I said, if I had a 15-footer for my life, Justin Spieth would be the guy I'd pick to make it.
Yeah, back when he was dominant, Pat, there, he was making everything. It was unbelievable how good he was with a flat stick. So,
that's when he had young nerves, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but you know what?
I don't know. Did we ever have young nerves?
I don't know. The yips, maybe.
I don't get nervous over a putt anymore. I will say that. I just don't make. I know it's not going in. So
yeah, but my theory has always been with nerves all, like if you're like a dumb athlete doesn't even think about stuff like that, and they just go ahead and execute their stuff. Other people think too much, and then the nerves come into play.
Yeah, our theory always was that the dumber you are, the better golfer you're going to be.
Yeah, the better you are under pressure.
That's right. All right, let's get to number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Robbie, you need the national media to pump the brakes a little bit on the Gators. I just saw where another one came out. They were number 8 in the preseason poll, and I'm like, you guys need to pump. I feel like everybody needs to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, Pat. But people ask me now, and I think they're going to have a really good season this year. A really good team. I think he's done a great job with the roster. But now we're bringing expectations into play where they really weren't there before. So that does add pressure. So yeah, maybe pump the brakes a little bit. But during the summer, it's going to be a lot of talk about Florida and the schedule they're playing, and the roster he's put together, and number 2 Lagway about his shoulder, and how well if he's 100%, they're going to be they're going to be tough to beat. And like we talked about before, you don't look on this year's schedule and say that's a game they can't win.
No, exactly.
Where last year you had games like that.
Yeah, and I think that I think this team's got a chance to be really special. But I would like to see them ranked where the basketball team was ranked in the preseason. Rank them 21st. Keep the pressure off,
Yeah.
And then build it up as the season goes along. But that's me.
Fly a little under the radar and then pop up and surprise a bunch of people.
I like to fly under the radar.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
We always fly under the radar.
That's right. All right, my man. I'll see you later, okay?
Okay, Pat. Thanks. We'll see you.
Okay, Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Okay, it's always good to have Robbie back on, and we're definitely going to have him on Monday again. I'm still going to try to find another guest because Coach Spurrier won't be here. By the way, Alabama played Georgia last weekend. Zach looked it up for me. I appreciate that. They will. I think they lost the first game like 19-3 and then won the next 2. I'm pretty sure it was at home, though. So, anyway, that's the team that's coming in here this weekend, and it's going to be a big series. It's just a big time around. And when you think about it, you're going to have baseball, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, and then you got softball playing Friday and then Saturday, Sunday, and then lacrosse playing Thursday, and all right in that one little area. You better have your shuttles ready. The hard part may be the plus. I got to make sure I can get 2 TVs with the plus on. All right, let us get to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. And the Gator of the Weekend this weekend, of course, Adams Rib brings it to you. Best ribs in town, you know that. Caitlin Davies. Now, Caitlin Davies is a lacrosse player. Maybe you guys haven't heard of her. Maybe you don't pay much attention to lacrosse. But I watched the whole thing. Let me tell you what, she was awesome. 5 goals, including the game winner, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Caitlin Davies is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. And there was a point where I was going to make it the goaltender, and then she gave a bunch of goals, and they pulled her. So I'm like, well, no, it's not going to be her now, who has been it before. But anyway, that is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Let us move next to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Week. BMI TeleMed, your weight loss specialist. Just give them a call at 727-383-1677 for all your issues that you have to deal with, and it works, believe me. Look at me. I'm a shell of my former self. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed. Our Overachiever of the Week, this may sound weird to you, but I know. I'm making it my Overachiever of the Week. Pierce Coppola. Now, here's why. Coppola obviously hurt his arm, was going to be out. We didn't know if he was going to even come back. Came back last week, do an inning. That's all they asked him to do. Do an inning, got through it, no runs. This week, starts the first game in a very rough environment at Texas on Friday night. Throws 2 innings of scoreless ball. And I'm voting for 3 next time. But the kid is really a talented guy. And if you're just looking at arm talent, height, 6'8", skill level, he's got it all. But he's, the arm has been the problem. But to come back the way he did and do what he did, and especially to do it there, that makes him an overachiever. So I'm calling him the BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend. So enjoy that moment, Pierce. I'm telling you. All right, let's move along to our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Brought to you, of course, by our good friends at Hesser and Kipke, Ken and Jennifer, 352-339-9920. The number to call for all of your workers' comp and family law needs, or you can reach them at www.hklawfl.com. Hesser and Kipke. Let's go to number 1. which is the retirement of Derek Carr, which happened over the weekend, which kind of made everybody freak out a little bit, only because he could have come back and taken $30 million and kind of guided the young quarterbacks around, but didn't. But it may be that he wants to play again, so if he took the $30 million, he could. I don't even know. But obviously the Saints that's why they drafted Tyler Shock. I mean, I don't see him as being that kind of guy, but he may be. And they have Spencer Rattler still, your guy that you love so much, your guy. So we'll see what happens there, but that certainly shook up. Let me tell you, this is how much it shook up the NFL. Immediately, there was a story posted on CBS Sports about do the Saints tank it this year and make themselves available for Arch Manning? Okay, you're really reaching there. First of all, you have no idea if Arch Manning is any good. This is the thing. I think he probably is. He's played a little bit of football. He's okay. He seemed to be fine. It's different when you're the starting guy the whole year, but you don't know, is what I'm saying. You have you don't have enough tape. You don't have enough sample size to know if he's going to be great. He might be, and I would say it's more likely that he will be than not. But then you're assuming he wants to come out after getting his 1 year in, which he may or may not. His brother, or not his brother, his uncle, right, didn't. Peyton said, no, I'm going to come back for another year. I like college. Maybe he does too. And he can make a fortune. He's making, I think, the top money of NIL guys other than Carson Beck. Anyway, it's just kind of interesting, the quarterback situation. Oh, by the way, is Aaron Rodgers decided yet? No. Okay. What a joke that story is. Anyway, that was number one on our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Number two, the horse who won the Kentucky Derby, Sovereignty, of course, is not going to the Preakness. Maybe it's because his side hurts. Maybe he just got hit with a whip too much that it hurts and he doesn't want to run. Well, I don't know if that's the reason or not, but I do know that the jockey that won the Kentucky Derby, Junior Alvarado, was fined $62,500 for excessive use of the whip. Now, you don't have to pay that much for excessive use of the whip, but that's a joke from Dodgeball that they didn't even use that joke. I think that joke got cut. You get excessive use of the whip. You go to a masochist, and you get it, the idea. Anyway, that's a long way to go for that joke. Anyway, let's go to number three. Number three on our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things, and that is that we now know what our Thursday night football game will be. Oh, Nelly! Thursday night, September 4th. We are ready for some football. I'm ready for this game. Dallas at Philly. I'll be rooting for Philly hard. My dislike of the Dallas Cowboys, although they did make a couple good moves. Anyway, the NFL has announced that part of it. They like to leak the schedule out piece by piece. It's why they're the king. I think the SEC should do the same thing. We're going to give you 3 games from the schedule. And they used to do it that way, but now they just kind of get it all out there. Anyway. But, of course, it's different in college than it is in the NFL, because college, you don't commit to a lot of these games, but you can still leak some of them out. Anyway, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. We appreciate Hesser and Kipke. Let's get to our quarterback club. Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest club in the world, planet, solar system. Billy Napier was unbelievable. We talked about that a little bit. He was tremendous on Tuesday night. Really enjoyed it. On June 3rd, coming up, you ready for this? Laura Rutledge. I know you guys are ready for that. You can still become a member of the Quarterback Club, even though you missed Billy. There are so many great speakers coming up. Laura is one of the best. She's so funny and just a great person, and will take a lot of questions and talk afterwards. I mean, she's just great. And then, of course, Billy Donovan's coming up. We talked about that. Kevin Carter's coming up. Charles Davis, who I love. Every time I look on TV, he's doing an interview. Noah Brindise is coming. Scott Strickland is coming. We're still working on a couple because we're trying to get – if we get this guy, then we don't need to get this guy. But if we need this guy – anyway, you know how that works. Trying to get all lined up. But it's going to be an unbelievable – maybe the best speaker season we've ever had at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Appreciate those guys there. Okay, let's get to our Los Linderos smooth move of the weekend. And, of course, Los Linderos, you got to go beyond with that tequila. And I know Urban. We should have a bottle of that when Urban's on Thursday. Of course, it would be at my house, so it may not get out. All right, our smooth move of the weekend comes to us from Aiden King. Now, if you don't know about what Aiden King did on Sunday, it was one of the great performances you'll see in sports. Now, when I say that, I'm exaggerating a little bit. For me, it was really big, but it was smooth, man, because he just was throwing strikes. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs at Texas, the number 1 team in the country. Very impressive performance. Very smooth, man. And he is our Los Linderos smooth move of the weekend. Now, I don't think Aiden, as a freshman, is probably not old enough to drink tequila, but when he is, I'll buy him the first shot because I was so happy with him. All right, let's move along, and we appreciate Los Linderos very much. Let's move along to our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem Moment. The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today.
Monaco.
Okay, this was it. This was the – I know it's a little choppy here. This video was the only one I could find, and it was the winning goal. And then, but they didn't know if it was good or not because they had to review it. And then they told them it was good, and they celebrated. They had a mayhem moment. And that means you're going off to the Elite Eight. That is so cool. All right. I love that. I love it. Look, lacrosse is different. And again, when you're not competing in the SEC because there's no SEC in lacrosse and you're winning the Big 12, people don't take it the same way. In fact, I asked this question to my wife and daughter last night about that. Like, do you consider that a conference championship? You know, I mean, they won the Big 12. There is no, I don't know. It just feels like it still should count the same as an SEC championship, even though it doesn't. It's different, but it's still the same, but it's not. It's weird. It is just weird, and that was certainly a mayhem moment for that lacrosse team, and congratulations. I appreciate them. I am watching, just know that. And those of you who have been watching or haven't been watching, well, either way, head out there Thursday. Thursday they're playing at I'll have to get the time for you. I still don't have the time. It's on the ESPNU, but my point is get out there and watch it. You'll fall in love with the game. It's really fun to watch, and it's fast-paced. The funny thing is, like in hockey, sometimes you have a hard time following the puck. It's not as hard to follow the pelota or whatever they call the ball for it reminds me of a pelota because it's really hard for lacrosse. Anyway, I'm rambling here. Let us move along to our Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Pick. Now, you probably thought I forgot about our Leonardo's at Quick Pick, but no, I never forget about Leo's, man. Are you kidding me? The pizza they put out there and the dual sandwich and the salad bar, it's the best. No, I waited till the end because I wanted to tie it into lacrosse. So that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. Florida, Duke, Gainesville, Thursday, who wins? That's all I want to know. Who wins the game? Who wins the game? It's pretty much simple math. Florida or Duke? Florida or Duke in lacrosse. So now, again, because that game's not till Thursday, we'll give you another one on Thursday. Be something different, of course. probably be baseball related. And a lot of you did get – I was trying to decide because I think the way I put the question last week was, hey, pick – does Florida win a game in Texas? And a lot of you just said yes, but some of you said they win one, which technically they won two. But since I asked that question that way, anybody who said yes or won is qualified. We're not far away. I think next week we will do another poll. I do need to get by Leo's and get some more gift certificates. So, all right. Let us move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. And the Sponge of the Weekend in this case was the game that we watched yesterday between OKC and Denver. And I don't know if you watched that game. 92-87, OKC wins. The two teams combined to shoot 24.4% from three-point range. That's not good. And everybody was complaining about it at halftime, about how bad it was, and it got worse in the second half. It just was bad. But you know who the sponge was? OKC, because they got the win. They sponged it up, man. They soaked up the win. That's all. They don't care what they shot. Now Jokic is talking today about, or yesterday was talking about how it was a number of things. He just had a bad shooting day. They play good defense, blah, blah, blah. And okay, I mean, you're one of the best players in the world. You should be better than that. But nobody shot well, 24.4%. But OKC sponged it up. Very well done. All right, let us move to our Swamp Games of the Week. Of course, coming up here, Swamp is the place to go watch games. It is the coolest place. And there is plenty of great food and great drinks specials to have there at the Swamp Restaurant over there off 2nd, right near, it's basically on, I don't know, would you call that on campus? Kind of is on campus. I mean, there's frats around there, so I guess it is. Anyway, let's get to our Swamp Games of the Week. Starting with Tuesday night. Tuesday night, Indianapolis at Cleveland. Indy has a 3-1 lead. That is at 7 on TNT. Denver at Oklahoma City, which we were just talking about. 9:30 Tuesday on TNT as well. That series now tied up at 2, so it's interesting. Wednesday, the Knicks at the Celtics. Knicks lead 2-1 against the defending world champs. 7 o'clock TNT. Golden State, Minnesota. At Minnesota, 9:30 on TNT. I don't like Golden State's chances anymore. Once they won that one game, the first game, I was like, hey, and then Curry got hurt, and it's not going well. And also, there's a baseball game. Tuesday, Boston at Detroit is on TBS at 6:40, which basically is daytime baseball, right? For us, we can watch it during the day. Some of it will be at night. Golf, if you're looking for golf. Now, golf is different. It's not like you have a par 3 contest or anything for the PGA, but you can watch it on the Golf Channel, all the guys, the talking heads. Golf will be on the PGA. The PGA Championship will be on ESPN. And if you get the plus on Thursday morning, you can start watching right away. If you don't, it will come on ESPN and then CBS. So we'll let you know more about the deets on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday later. But if you're looking for it on Thursday morning before we come on with our next show, or Thursday afternoon even, it will be on ESPN. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right. By the way, did you see Rich Eisen is going back to ESPN? That was stunning news. I love watching his show. He's got I have good guests. He's got the best guests. He'll have like Pacino on and stuff like that. I'm not like Spurrier's pretty close to the Pacino level in Gainesville, but I don't know if he quite raced to that. Anyway, that's going to do it for our show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll be back again on Thursday with Urban Meyer. Look forward to that. And we appreciate all of our great sponsors for doing such a great job. It has been another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. For Zach Rothrock, I am Pat Dooley. We are deep, we are way back, and we are out of here.